Today on Inside Utah Politics, Silver Alert. It's a new system in Utah to help bring endangered seniors home safely. But is it being used the way it should be? The bill sponsor is here to help spread the word. And Utah Senator Mike Lee says the federal government is taking a strange approach to an antitrust investigation. What he plans to do to keep an eye on the process.
Time now for Inside Utah Politics.
Good Sunday morning, and thanks so much for joining us for Inside Utah Politics. I'm Glenn Mills. An Orem man drove around lost and confused for nearly 2 days until his credit card and Utah's new Silver Alert system helped track him down. ABC4's Rick Aaron spoke exclusively to the children of the man who triggered Utah's first ever Silver Alert.
80-year-old Robert Jones suffers from Alzheimer's, so he didn't realize that his wife Karen was asleep in the next room when he started a 1,600-mile journey to find her. Robert's son thinks he left his house in Orem around 1 a.m. Sunday and asked for directions.
I believe someone in Orem told him how to get onto I-15. He asked them where Salt Lake was. They told him how to get to Salt Lake. He got on the freeway, and then he just drove. And drove and drove and drove until he ran out of gas 600 miles away near Pendleton, Oregon. A Good Samaritan gave him a ride to a gas station where his credit card was declined at 9:59 Sunday night, but he used cash to fill up in nearby Stanfield at 11:33 and kept going.
He was aware the entire time that he was lost, that he was looking for my mother, and I think he did feel, distress. He just didn't quite have the cognitive ability to tell somebody, I'm lost, I need help.
The family kept tracking his Discover card Monday morning in Mountain Home, Idaho, and Monday afternoon in Winnemucca, Nevada. After ABC4 News informed an Orem police lieutenant about the new Silver Alert system, they put out an alert with a description of his vehicle at 4:04 p.m. Less than 3 hours later, a gas station attendant found him in Wilder, Idaho. 42 hours and 4 states later, Robert was safe and on his way back home.
It was just nice to give him a big hug, just, good to see you, Dad. He just said, sure happy that I'm home.
Robert's family tells me that today he is healthy and happy, but has no recollection of his epic 4-state journey. Reporting alongside Interstate 15, Rick Aaron, ABC4 News.
Robert's children tell us they are installing a new security system at his house that will sound an alarm if he tries to leave alone again. Hopefully this won't happen again. Representative Lee Perry is the sponsor of the bill that actually created the Silver Alert. He's here now to discuss how and when it should be put to use. Representative Perry, great to have you with us. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Glenn.
We'll get into this situation specifically in just a bit, but let's start with the background. You ran the bill during this year's legislative session. Why did you run it, and what was the need that you saw?
Well, the Alzheimer's Association of Utah came to me and asked me about running it. They said there's other similar laws around the country, and I actually had a constituent who asked to run this bill. We had kind of a policy in place in the state of Utah and the Bureau of Criminal Identification, but not many people knew about the policy and how it worked. And so we felt like making it a law would be a better thing. And this constituent, she lost her father. He was there in Brigham City area. He wandered off, got in a car, drove away, and we didn't have anything like this. And so the search was great and intensive, but it focused in Box Elder County. And he'd driven just over the hill into Cache County, where he eventually succumbed to the environment, and that's not acceptable. We care about our parents and our loved ones, and so I said, yeah, count me in, I'll run it, and that's where it came to, between the Alzheimer's Association and my constituent. I felt like this needed to be done.
Got it. This is just like an Amber Alert, except for endangered seniors. Talk about how it works, because you make an important point there where it went from county to county. This will actually help with that.
Yeah, ours is unique in this sense. It's like an Amber Alert except for one component. We don't go to people's cell phones. We use the overhead message boards. We use reverse 911, things like that. And Utah's law is unique because it's geographically based. But so if you've got somebody who's in a car, we can use the overhead message signs from UDOT to get the message out and have other people help us. If they just walk away from the house, we can use a reverse 911 system and have the people in the neighborhood help us look for this person. There's not enough policemen, not even enough search and rescue to find a missing person. And sometimes they go into places and hide. And it takes extra eyes to get out there and really look to find them. And that's what this law brings to the table. And it's disseminated through the Bureau of Criminal Identification to get the word out as wide as necessary or as narrow and focused as necessary.
And how do you determine how that focus is necessary? What is the criteria for that?
Well, they got to be over the age of 65 in most cases, or if they have a diagnosis of dementia or there's a belief of the dementia or Alzheimer's. If any of those things are in place there, they can ask, and law enforcement can do this. Unlike an Amber Alert where it's criminal, this is just helping our people who need help out. And there's an age criteria because we can't just put it out for everybody. But it's those who we think are suffering that dementia and Alzheimer's, just like in Robert's case. The family knew, and they needed to have that message put out so that people start looking and helping law enforcement find it.
Obviously, this can go across state lines as well.
We can reach out to other states to put the word out, yes. We can reach out to other states and share that information with them. It's Utah-based, but it could reach out to other states through our Bureau of Criminal Investigation.
And is that determined on whether a state has a similar Silver Alert type system, or even if they don't themselves, can the information still be shared there?
It doesn't matter whether they have one or not. It can still be shared there. It's for their states, it's depending on what their state action is. Some states like Idaho, we can just share it with them and say, hey, this is an attempt to locate it. It's a welfare check is what they would call it in a state that doesn't have a Silver Alert.
Got it. Let's talk about another important issue here, and that is that there may not be enough awareness and education of this across the state. Our reporter informed the Orem Police Department that this is an option. I know you got involved with that as well. Are you disheartened at all that agencies across the state don't know that this is an option? Or is that just kind of part of the learning curve?
No, that's part of the learning curve. That's what happens. As we pass legislation on the Hill, you can't expect law enforcement, everybody to pick up on it right away. Even sometimes the public misses it. It's near and dear to the hearts of those who are involved and understand this, but sometimes you get so many laws coming into law enforcement's hands, you can't expect them to know them all. Amber Alert was like that. It took a while for people to understand what's an Amber Alert, how does it work, and we train law enforcement. The Alzheimer's Association is offering free training to any law enforcement agency in the state of Utah to help understand the law, how it works, and how it will best serve their community.
We calculate that there are probably other incidents here in the state of Utah that this could have been used for before now. You think that there are probably quite a few that happen every single month that this could actually apply to. Talk about that.
You know, yeah, I mean, I could see probably, you know, you could probably have on average 3 to 10 a month, I'm thinking, that could apply to it. But again, it's up to law enforcement. They've got to go and determine, is the person just wandering in the neighborhood? Can we keep it local? Do we even need to send it to BCI? In a case like Robert's, where they knew he was in the car, by all means, that's one that we need to get on fast. Get that word out, get those message boards up so that people will start looking for his car. That way we find them faster. So when we know the mechanism of how they've gone away, if they're walking, certainly they're not going to get as far. If they've got a car, we need to get that message out even faster and broader.
So you mentioned the Alzheimer's Association trying to help spread the word. Yes. What else needs to be done? You yourself work in law enforcement as well. Are there going to be other efforts to help spread the word across the state so that more people are aware that this is an option? Yeah,
the Statewide Association of Prosecutors travels the state of Utah after the legislative session and shares information about laws that were changed during the previous session. And I think they're about halfway done in the state right now. So they're continuing to educate law enforcement throughout the state. And I know this is one of the laws that they're sharing with law enforcement to remind them, but they're not all the way done with training all those officers yet.
Yeah. So Robert's case, obviously, he's home safe and sound, but you've mentioned there are cases where that's unfortunately not the case. Do you believe that this will make a difference and help save lives? And really, how big of a problem is this where we've seen this in the past where seniors have wandered off and got disoriented and unfortunately not made it back home?
You know, I do think it'll make a big difference. And the big agencies are really good at helping find people. This is going to be a big help to smaller agencies, I believe, is getting that message out and giving them some support and help to get these people back home. We may not recover everyone, but I think our percentage of recovery will go up as far as finding them before something bad happens to them. We've even seen cases where people have wandered off, got in cars, and ended up driving the wrong way on the freeway and causing crashes and having catastrophic things happen to them or others. That's where I think this is going to help save some lives.
And that's where you mentioned the need, if someone's in a car, we need to get on this as quick as possible.
Yes. Yeah, it's really important that we get that message out, let people start looking for it. Whenever there's an Amber Alert, it goes on those big overhead signs, or you get it on your phone, you're like, you know, everybody gets to be a detective.
Sure.
I want to help try and find this person and bring them home to their family. We all want to help each other out. That's what we are in Utah. We like to help, and this is one way we can help our fellow Utahns.
Yeah, and it was awesome to see how people from other states stopped at certain times to help Robert along his journey as well. So that's another important point. Even we can take a responsibility in this It's not going to come to our phone, but kind of be mindful of what we see on the UDOT signs and in other ways.
Yeah, and well, in media, they'll use a lot of social media. Your law enforcement agencies, a lot of them use Facebook and different types of social media, Twitter and things like that. They'll get that message out. And we love the local media because our local media is probably one of the best in the nation that I've seen that gets on board and helps us get the message out to the public.
All right, I'll let you pat us on the back a little bit longer if you like. Hey, appreciate your time. Very important cause, and hopefully we can help spread the word and get this thing up and running and really working well. Appreciate
I
your
hope
time.
so. Thank you.
All right.